Welcome to Shop Talk by Elevated Stylists, a podcast for the thriving community of salon owners and stylists where we discuss topics in business, wellness, mindset, and more. Join us on this journey and become an elevated stylist. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Shop Talk. My name is Sonia.
And I'm Jody, and today we are welcoming our friend Shelby Bettencourt. Shelby is an amazing new friend that we've come in contact with. Thank you so much for being here today. Shelby is the owner of Maker's Loft in Miami, Florida. She is also a hairstylist coach, and she also has an amazing podcast called the Healthy Wealthy Stylist. I love it. I think that it aligns with us so much. And I had the pleasure of speaking with you a few weeks ago to get to know you a little bit more. And I just find that your vibe jives with us so much. Like it just aligns with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be on this podcast. I'm so excited to get into this conversation with you ladies. I think that this is going to be awesome. It's so needed in our industry. So I'm so excited to get this conversation going.
Amazing. We're so excited to have you. Why don't we just start with you giving us a little bit of an intro to your journey as a hairstylist, into a coach, and into Healthy Wealthy Stylist.
Okay, so I started hair school when I was 14. I went to a vocational high school. So before I even graduated high school, I was a licensed hairstylist working behind the chair. I remember telling my boss the day of prom, it's okay, I can come in tomorrow. I'm gonna be good. And she's like, no, girl, you're gonna be so hungover, don't come in. So I grew up around hair. My mom started dating my the owner of the hair salon we went to as a kid. So I just fell in love with it, the feeling of women coming into a salon, because it was mainly women who came into this particular salon, and feeling one way and then leaving feeling another. It was just so cool to me. I couldn't describe it when I was younger, but it's the energy. It's the energy that we give to people, and it's the energy that people leave with after, having their hair done or just being in our presence. So what got me into the health journey was I was diagnosed in 2009 with rheumatoid arthritis in my hands and my wrists. And I was 17 at the time. I had just gotten my license. I just felt like I was oh my God, I know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I had already been through 3 years of hair school. So I was told by my doctor I wouldn't be able to do hair for more than 10 years. And being 17, I was like, man, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do. So I sucked it up and I continued on with my hair career, and I was living in Massachusetts at the time. So it was in the winters, it was really hard. I'm sure you ladies know, the winters, it's cold. It's a lot on your joints. And I ended up working at the salon with this woman, and this was in 2011. And she was vegan and she was a nutritionist, and she I thought she was weird, you know what I mean? Her name is Melissa. I thought that she was weird. She ate carrot sticks and rice cakes, and I was like, that lifestyle sucks. I definitely don't want that. And this was before gluten-free was a thing. This was before being vegan was cool, all those things. But she would hear me constantly talk about my hands, my wrists, and pain, especially in the winter. And after hearing me complain more and more, she finally said to me, and I love her for this bluntness because I needed it, Shelby, if you stopped eating crap, maybe you would feel better. And that was the moment that I realized that food could heal me. Food could make me feel better. Because before that, I didn't know. I didn't grow up in a household where we were a typical middle-class American family. We had cereal for breakfast. We, lived off of TV dinners. I mean, my mom did cook, but vegetables were canned vegetables. It was just one of those things. So learning how to eat to help my pain with my arthritis, learning how to have anti-inflammatory foods is really what started me on my health journey, because I started seeing the results of eating to feel. And once I moved to Florida in 2012, I realized like, shit, man, everyone here is beautiful and fit and like healthy. And it, it really changed my perspective on how I wanted to grow up and how I wanted to develop myself. I wanted to get into healthy habits now when I was in my early 20s. So when I was older, it was easier. And then I saw how, okay, I'm working out, I'm moving my body, I'm eating good. I don't feel like crap behind the chair. I don't feel like crap in my personal life. And that's really what like changed me, where I was just like, oh, wow, like here I am 13 years later after my doctor told me I wouldn't be able to do hair for more than 10 years. And I'm running circles around most hairstylists. I feel great. Like, and it's all because I learned how to take care of my body so I could better myself in business and in life.
Beautiful. I love that. Are you a vegan now?
No, I'm not.
No. Okay.
No.
No. You just
I
eat better.
all the foods.
Yeah. I think it's just, I just don't think that people realize how much of their health they sacrifice behind the chair, because you work long hours, you're giving your energy to people. You often miss bathroom breaks and water breaks and lunch breaks. And those are the things that affect your hormonal health. They affect your emotional health. They affect your physical health. And you just kind of get used to that pace and that routine. And it just catches up to you eventually. And I think it's so important that, like, to have those healthy habits.
Yeah. And it's like, who taught us that? Who taught us that we shouldn't pee? Who taught us that we shouldn't drink water or have a, lunch at the salon? Like, we're told from elementary school through high school and even like through college that we have lunch breaks. So why as adults do we go into our career and think that skipping lunch is okay? It's not.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not normal to go 12, 13 hours without eating or drinking water.
Yeah. I think it goes back to that people pleasing thing, right? Like, we want to say yes to every appointment. We want to please our bosses because, they're expecting us to perform in a certain way. But I really think that, we need to put in lunch breaks. Like, when we opened our salon, we said, like, the first thing was we need mandatory lunch breaks, like absolutely. And our staff like thanks us for it, to make sure that they have those actual lunch breaks where they can sit down and they're not like wolfing food into their face in 5 minutes, like, I just think that it's such a learned thing from previous salons that you've worked with, that you have to almost work like a factory.
Yeah. And even when you say like people pleasing, I realize, because like, trust me, this, I've been on my health journey since 2011, but I had to learn by getting burnt out that I need to eat. I need to take care of myself. I need to say no to some people and like no to working super late. It took me to get to that point where I was like, am I really people pleasing? Or am I just trying to think that by sacrificing my health that I'm doing better? It's like I had more redos when I was working late, double booking, not taking lunch breaks, afraid to go to the bathroom, like all those things. I was not pleasing my clients because I couldn't show up as my best self. Now I'm like, it is an, the best way I can serve my client is by taking care of myself so I can have the energy for them. I can show up in the best way. I don't have a headache when I'm doing their hair. I'm not tired when I'm doing their hair. I have enough energy for them to keep up with the conversation, to make sure that their hair's on point. I'm not rushing it because I'm freaking tired and I want to leave. And I'm not hangry and shoving food in between, in between services because I'm like shaking from hunger. Like, that's not people pleasing.
Yeah. For anybody listening to this that is feeling burnt out, or if you're starting your career, like, please take this advice, because it does really, really change the way that you work and the way that you show up for your guests and for yourself, really.
Yeah. And like, I think that mandatory lunch breaks are great, but I still don't do that. I make sure that my schedule isn't jam packed. So I do have like moments where I can eat. And for me, like, I just pack snacks, like easy to eat things. Like I'll eat a big lunch and then a big dinner. And then in between, when I'm at the salon, like I have like easy, like, nuts, yogurts, just like easy to eat things. So I don't have to worry about taking that half hour to, have a lunch. I don't have to worry about whatever. I can just like eat in between my clients. And that's what's worked for me. I think taking lunch breaks are great, but I don't have an assistant and all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't have to be that way. You can have that happy medium where you are like just focusing on like, all right, I have 10 minutes my client's processing, rather than picking up your phone and scrolling through Instagram, because we all do that. Put down your phone and freaking eat something. Take a sip of water.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to create these like mental, what is it called?
Reminders.
Positive feedback loops,
Yeah.
right? It's a positive feedback loop, because I got into this habit because I wasn't drinking a lot of water behind the chair. And with the masks on and you're back and forth, you forget like what's going on. So I wasn't drinking water. So I told myself, okay, every time I finish washing my client and I walk into the chair, I'm going to go back, have a sip of water. When I'm done cutting the hair before I blow dry, I'm going to have a sip of water. Before I get to my next client, I'm going to have a sip of water. When I started to create these feedback loops for myself, all of a sudden I finished 2 liters of water throughout the day, because it was small increments of water throughout the day versus being completely dehydrated and then being like, I need to chug 3 glasses of water so that I can get rid of this headache. And I realized that I was getting less headaches. I was more alert. I was like, oh, it took me only 17 years to figure this out.
Yeah, it's so true. I call that creating triggers. So every time I mix up a bowl of lightener, because I specialize in blondes, and I mix up like on a full head, I'm mixing up 5 times. Why can't I grab a sip of water while I'm mixing? Like it's going to take me 2 seconds. So creating those, I like that you call them feedback loops, because that's like, it makes sense. It's like, oh, I'm doing this, so then I reward myself with this. I just call it triggers. I create triggers in the salon, and every time I have that second, that's when I'm like, all right, drink water, eat something, all those things. So I love that.
What would you say some of the things that your clients tell you when you're starting to coach them and stuff like that? What are something that maybe can resonate with somebody listening today, how they can start making these healthy habits within their day?
Yeah, one of the main things that the stylists I've worked with, they just don't know where to start. They feel overwhelmed, because like being quote unquote healthy can have like, it can feel overwhelming. And it's like, do I want to eat carrot sticks at lunch? No, probably not. So I just tell them like, find what they will stick with and do it. So when it comes down to being in the salon, this is like the one thing that has helped all the stylists I've worked with, creating those triggers. So I tell them like, hey, bring a water bottle to work. You need to have like something that's easily accessible with you. I was like, it can be in the back room, it can be by your station, whatever. So bring that, and then make snacks to eat behind the chair. And I tell them like, if you do those 2 things, every time that you have your trigger where you're either washing your client or they're processing and you put down your phone, that is going to be the number one thing that makes you feel better. Keep going your same schedule, all that kind of stuff. If you have moments where you can block out 15 minutes, do it. But if that's too hard for you, don't do that. Like work with whatever's you're going to be consistent with, do that. And figure it out. It doesn't have to be everything all at once. And I don't suggest it. I suggest like stacking up these like certain habits. I mean, if anyone has read Atomic Habits, that's a great book to start out with. I take a lot of that information because it couldn't have been better said. So just create like a small habit, even if it's just like, hey, I'm going to bring my goal by the end of the day today is to drink this 1 bottle of water. You can also, like with most of the hairstylists I work with, I mean, I'm in Miami, we are like addicted to coffee. Like it's one of those things, like coffee is life. Like we have Colombian, we have Cuban, we have all the things. So the stylists I've worked with locally, they're like, what do I do about like all the coffee I drink? I'm like, pair it up with water. Anytime that you're going to drink like an 4-ounce cup of coffee or 8-ounce cup of coffee, drink a cup of water beforehand and after. and know that like, hey, this is what I got to do in order to stay hydrated. I'm not telling you to get rid of the coffee. I'm telling you to add something that's going to help you along with the coffee. So taking your habits and just like stacking them with good things that you already do, things that are easily accessible, is going to be the number one thing that helps you. And then that's when you get into the, you know, the business side of it. That's when you get into like, you know, how to like get more clients, how to pre-book, how to do all those kind of things. But if you don't know how to handle yourself behind the chair where you are right now, and you don't know how to like feel good by the end of the day and have those boundaries around like, you know, I need this for myself in order to perform better, that you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to get into burnout, and then that's not going to be good. So a lot of the stylists, they come to me because they want to learn how to make more money, and they get that. But the thing that they don't realize is that when they start taking care of themselves, they're able to show up better, and it can become easier for them. They don't have to be in this hustle, you know, thing. Don't get me wrong. You got to hustle, you got to like work, but it can be, you can feel good while you're doing it. It doesn't have to be like this whole like masculine negative thing.
Yeah, and I think that like the energy is always like, I need to struggle in order to be successful.
Yeah.
I need to make it hard in order to be successful. And I think that like what people don't realize is, like you were saying, that if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of your clients.
Yeah.
And we just push ourselves to the point of like no return. And I would love for you to like give us a little insight on like something that helped you gain more wealth, because it's, I know your podcast about Healthy Wealthy Stylist. I would love to know a little bit more about how you being healthy has helped you become wealthy.
Well, creating boundaries with my clients has like been the number one thing that has helped me wealth wise. So learning that I can't work 12-hour days for 5 days in a row. It's not going to work. When I was doing that, I was making money, but I was spending a lot of time with redos. I was spending I was taking longer to do their hair because I wasn't healthy. So learning that I have certain limitations allowed me to change the conversations with my clients and the way that I work, which allowed me to gain more respect from them. They get it. Like when I'm like, hey, like I can't work past this time. It's just not going to work. It's in your best interest. They understand that. So my schedule got a little tighter, which means I was in more demand. So instead of working, 40, 50 hours a week, I'm working 30. And with that being said, my demand got higher. With that being said, I got to raise my prices. And then I felt better at work. I was working less hours. I raised my prices. I'm in higher demand. And the energy that I can give to my clients became something that they can't get from other stylists. So then my demand, like my client's loyalty stayed with me. So just by them seeing how much I respect myself gave them a different way of looking at me and respecting me. So when I am going from 9 years ago when I charged $25 for a haircut, and now I charge $125 for a haircut, my clients are like, yeah, she takes care of herself. She treats us like a business. She is like all around, like she has her shit together. So they value that more. And because of the conversations are different now, that I take care of myself, that I read books, that I, have a great atmosphere in my salon, my clients value that so much more, because it's not just a typical salon visit. They're gaining knowledge. They're feeling good. They're learning something. That has helped my wealth because it gains that loyalty, that respect, and it's like an ongoing thing. I have clients who take notes when they sit in my chair. They're like, I have like a notepad just for you because I learned so much about myself. They're like, it's not about the hair. Because let me tell you a secret. I'm not the best hairstylist. I'm really not. Like, I'm good, don't get me wrong, but I'm not like Vidal Sassoon. But what I do well is I create good energy. I make clients feel good. I help them with like how they can maintain their hair through their health, because I mean, we see it when someone is sick and someone does not have is on is very depressed, they're anxious all the time, their hair is affected by that. So I set the example on a well-rounded, healthy person. My hair is healthy. And I show clients how to have healthier hair, how to ease their anxiety, how to ease the stress, how to move their body, how to like fuel their body just by setting the example. So it's so much more than just hair that has made the wealth that I have. It's the knowledge, it's the lifestyle. I'm selling something more than just hair. I'm selling knowledge on how to be happier, how to be healthier, not only to hairstylists, but to clients. We create that ripple effect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in long story short, that's
Yeah.
No,
I
that was
love
very
that.
well said. Yeah,
Yeah.
very well
Well,
said.
I just feel like there's this like expectation. I feel like online everyone's like, oh, wealth, 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 that there has to be this like out of the world like system that's going to create you instant wealth. And I love that, like you just talked about the energy that you create, because money is energy. And if we can create this energy around us and in our salon, then it's going to attract that wealth and that money, because people are going to be in better spirits. Like, oh, frick, I learned so much from this person. I'm just going to keep coming back, right? It's that, again, that feedback loop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing like when you're white knuckling the shit out of things. I'm sorry, I'm swearing. So when you're like holding on so freaking tight to something, it's gonna want to like escape you. Like there's no sense in holding into something, like being scared and having a scarcity mindset. Anyone who has a scarcity mindset around money, around clients, around business, they lose it all. So it's like, how can you create ease and flow and show your value, trusting that that will come back to you?
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true, because I think like a lot of the time, like we hear people, you know, they're tired all the time. They are living with like a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. Their reactions are very like defensive and angry when, you know, they're talking to their clients if they do come in for a redo, and they're, you know, they're overworking themselves, and they're not filling their own cup up. Like Sonia and I talk about this a lot, about, you know, we're giving, but we're never giving back to ourselves. And, you know, we're huge advocates of, you know, filling your cup up first. It's almost like you're on an airplane and you give yourself the oxygen first, you know, like make sure that you're good, your mind, body, and soul is good, so that you can now give that to somebody else. And the clients they see it, you know, because I know we were talking, like we used to just talk shit to our clients, just like gossip and shit. And like, you know, they would come in and yeah, it would be fun, but like it felt negative. Like you were always talking about some celebrity or this or that. And it was never like a positive, high vibration conversation. But once you start, like you said, reading books and watching podcasts or watching documentaries, listening to podcasts and all that sort of stuff, you now have more knowledge to share with your clients. Now you're talking about positive conversations. You're talking about things that could better their lives as well as yours, and learning from experience. I think being able to have this knowledge to share with our guests, like you said, is an added value. We're always looking about how can we add value to our services behind our chair without, you know, jumping over backwards or going through hoops. But these are types of things that little things can, you know, keep your energy so high throughout the day, because you're sharing. When you're sharing, you're in a service, and it's beyond our technical service. It's in a more energetic exchange, you know?
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that has helped me, so there was this experiment done by this Japanese scientist, Dr. Emoto Marisu, or something like that. And he studied water molecules before they freeze. So at the point before they freeze, based on the energy, so he did an experiment where he took two water molecules, and at the point before they froze, he talked positively to one and negatively to the other. And the negative water molecule darkened and almost like turned gray, like a mold. And the positive water molecule crystallized like a beautiful snowflake. So he realized in his experiment that water is affected by energy. So as humans, we're made of water, like 70% water, right? So I don't know about you, but being in the beauty industry, I don't want to be any uglier than what, nature is going to do to me. So you are what you think you are. If you are constantly in, like, you constantly have negative thoughts, you constantly are talking shit, you constantly are like, sending out all these like bad energy, you're going to get uglier over time. Who wants that? Botox and fillers, those are expensive. I'm trying to I'm trying to be as natural as I mean, don't get me wrong, I get Botox and fillers, but I like, if I can just like change my mindset and be more positive and share that, then I can be more beautiful. And isn't that what we want? Like, we want to like feel better. We want to be happier. We want to be like more beautiful, more attractive, like all of those things. It doesn't have to be like a vanity thing of like, oh, this is what beautiful is. It's just like, hey, your energy reflects who you are. So be nicer, think like, change your mindset. Like, you're going to attract, when what you see is what you get. So if you see negative, you'll get negative. If you see positive, you'll get positive. Experiment with it. Like, you don't have to believe me, just try it. Try talking positive to your clients. If your clients start stirring into like a negative conversation, you can just be like, that's interesting, and then change it. Like, hold that space for them, because it's exhausting to keep on talking shit all day, to be in these negative conversations, to be like mad all the time. It's so exhausting. But you get more energy when you're happy. Being happy feels good. Who wants to be happy? Everyone. Like, it's great. And you can control that. So I find that like my clientele has changed so much because I stopped shit talking. My clients are happier when they come to see me. They leave better. They leave me off better. And like, that's easier. That's better. They're happy to pay the hundreds of dollars that they pay to sit in my chair. That's easy. So it's like, you want ease and you want happiness and all this kind of stuff. It starts with you.
Yeah. And I know that like changing mindset can feel like such a daunting thing. Like, you can be like, oh, it's so easy to just change your mindset. But then like, it's like you're down this rabbit hole again 3 seconds later. But it really is like, our brain is a muscle as well. Like, it works just like a muscle. And the more that we can be aware of, I'm going to change my mindset, keeping that in the frontal lobe of your brain is, it just takes little tiny things like that. They always say like, it takes 1% to make a big difference, by being able to be aware of, I know that I think negatively. So every time a negative thought, I catch myself thinking a negative thought, I'm going to stop it, know what I'm doing, address it, and then say, you know what, how can I think of this in a positive way? Or what can I think about now that can change my thought process and think about something different? By just doing that, you're flexing your brain muscle. And the more that you're able to stop these like rabbit hole thoughts and negative patterns, it starts to be like every time you start to think something, you're like, nope, that's negative. I'm going to think different. I've been doing it for the last few months, and it is insane how much you catch yourself and you're just like, nope, shift the perspective, shift the mindset, but it takes being able to be like, all right, I'm aware of that. This is a human thing. This is something that everybody does. It's hard to, with all of the environmental, things that are going on through media, through, just being on Instagram, social media, whatever, you're constantly bombarded by all of these things that you want to compare yourself to and live up to and all this sort of stuff. But if you can start to catch yourself and be like, yeah, no, I'm not going down that. I'm not going to think about that for 20 minutes. Because like, you could literally think about some of these things for hours, and you're like so riddled with tension and anxiety by the end of it that you don't even know what to do with yourself. You want to eat a whole bunch of food and watch TV, or do something that's not so positive for you. So I think by being able to think about mindset and think about changing your mindset, it can lead you to happier, healthier,
Wealthier.
wealthier life.
Wealthier life. Yeah.
If you
I
just
think
like,
also too, people forget to breathe. Like, just breathe
yeah.
for a second. Like, we're moving so fast all the time. And I think that the one thing that can help with awareness is just to like take a breath, understand where you are in time and space, because our thoughts are not in time and space. Our thoughts are all over the place. And I think that our breath is the only thing that's in the present moment. And people just like are like jumping from place to place, client to client, task to task. And it's like, okay, let's just take a deep breath and let it go. You know, that already, even if you are someone that struggles with the awareness, even taking a breath can change your mindset.
Yeah. And like, you can do that with your clients. Like I've had clients who are like, they start telling me about a story and they're getting upset. And I'm like, hey, close your eyes, get into your body, breathe. Like, let's just breathe. It's fine. And like, I don't say it's fine. I just say like, let's just breathe, because it's not safe to say it's fine. Don't say it's fine. Because what they're going through may not be fine.
Yeah.
But I just like tell them if they're getting like worked up about something, like they're telling me a story, they're upset about it. I just hold that space for them. And I'm just like, okay, like, tell me more about that. How did that make you feel? And then, all right, let's take a couple of deep breaths. And they're like, wow, you just like turned on me. And I was like, I'm just keeping the room a certain way. Like, I'm just trying to like, you know, level out the temperature. And yeah, breathing. And even I do that. Like before I formulate it, this sounds crazy, but like before I formulate, I take like a couple of deep breaths, especially if it's a color correction. Like I'll go into the bathroom, I'll just like stand there. Like I have a whiteboard in my salon and I'll just stand there with the marker and I'll just like breathe in, just so I can like clear the energy, so I can think clearly, so I can like be in the moment, so I can make the best formula for my client. And if breathing helps, then I'm going to do that. And most of the time it does. Even when we're cutting, like a lot of time I've noticed this, when I cut, I hold my breath. So it's like, and it's crazy. But now I'm just like, all right, can I breathe while I'm, you know, cutting my client? And I found this out because for the longest time, I had like I had a very weak core and it was affecting my hips. It was affecting my posture. And I went to a physical therapist for like 6 months trying to like, I couldn't bend over and lift a leg without like my back spasming. And she was just like, I want you, when you're talking, to focus on engaging your core and breathing. And she's like, anytime you talk, touch your stomach and see if you're engaging your stomach and see if you're breathing. And I just take note of that all the time. I'm just like, all right, am I breathing right now? Am I cool? And I'm just like analyzing my body. And that's been so helpful. So if you can remind yourself, like just by drinking water, like, can you breathe? Can you, like, every time you go to cut hair, are you breathing when you're doing it? When you're formulating, can you take a couple of like deep breaths before your next client comes in? Can you, like, no one has to know that you're breathing. You don't have to like make it like a huge, you know, a huge show. You can just like do it.
Wait
to
1
yourself.
second. I'm just going to breathe.
Yeah. Everyone quiet. I'm breathing. And you can get your clients in on it with you. Like if you want to like start off the service, I don't know, like I don't do this, but like sometimes like you may feel like, all right, hey, before we get started, let's just like take a couple of deep breaths and go. I mean, that may be your thing. It's not my thing, but I don't see why you couldn't do that.
Nice.
Yeah, you're the master of your environment.
Yeah, totally. So Shelby, what would your top 3 tips be for, you know, maybe transitioning or starting to get into living a healthier life behind the chair?
Great question. So my top 3 would be pack a snacks or a lunch before you go into work. No dining out. Make sure that you have something that you're actually going to eat. If it's there, like you have to eat it. The next thing would be focus on moving your body. Like, what is it that you will do every single day that feels good? Is it going for a walk? Is it going to the gym? Is it doing some yoga? What is it? And focus on doing it every single day. Now, when I say that, there are going to be days that you're sore, and I don't think that you should work out like an animal every single day. No, I'm saying that if you're like, okay, on Tuesday, like 4 days a week, I'm going to go to the gym. What are you going to do those next 3 days? Are you going to go for a walk? Is it going to, like, it can be 10 minutes. Just focus on moving your body every single day. Don't break the cycle. So packing snacks, moving your body every single day. And then the last thing would be just creating boundaries in and out of the salon. So for me, one of my things, because we're talking about health here, so health isn't only just food and movement, it's mindset. And I know that being someone who is managing their own business, I have stylists who work for me, I have, employees under me. I need to take care of my mental health. So what in the salon is a trigger for me? My cell phone. So I made it a rule that I do not scroll during work hours. If I'm going to be on social media, I'm going to work on social media. I'm going to post stories. I'm going to post before and afters. I'm going to do those things that's going to get me more work or help my work. But I'm not sitting there just consuming, because there are so many other things that I could do that is worth my time. So as hairstylists, we complain about, oh my God, social media is so hard. And I'm like, well, let me look at your screen time. How long are you on social media? Chances are you're probably on it for a very long time, where you had the time to be working social media and not just consuming it. So create a trigger for your mindset while you're at work, a boundary while you're at work that's going to help your anxiety. And if that just means like no social media while I'm at work, do it. So find something that's going to help your body by fueling it. Find something that's going to make your body feel better by moving it, and help your mindset in some way. Those would be my 3 tips.
Love that.
Thanks.
It's like very well-rounded tips, mind, body, soul, spirit, mind, everything.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much for, spending the morning with us and sharing all of your wealth. To listen more on all of the healthy, wealthy, juicy stuff that Shelby has to share, you can find her at the Healthy Wealthy Stylist, and it's available on Spotify and Apple Music, right?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. So check her out. Thank you so much, Shelby. And we'll talk to you guys all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. For more ways to connect with us, please join our online community on the Mighty Network platform, a space to learn, grow, and connect.